Shri Ganeshaya Namo Namah. Greetings to everyone world over, all our brothers and sisters across the globe, wherever you are. It's a green morning, green afternoon, and green evening to everyone world over. Indeed, it's a great pleasure that every evening, 8 o'clock, we all come, we meet with the new theme, with the new vision, with the new concept, with the new creativity, and something basically to help the entire global humanity. 7.9 billion people across the globe, world over, and everybody has got during this corona different challenges. We are in different mental makeup. We are in different environmental condition. We are in different health and wellness condition. We are in different environmental and spiritual conditions. And finally, we are also in different economic conditions. This particular corona, this particular pandemic, and this is muted virus, it has given lots of challenges world over to everybody. So, how do we prepare ourselves? Like doctors, nurses, paramedical people, great warriors, they have done the great job. And they have tried to save every soul on this planet, best possible way, whatever they could do from their side. Our chamber, International Chamber for Service Industry, which is basically a link between non-resident Indian diaspora world over, our corporate sector and the government. From time to time, we keep sharing a lot of policies, action plans, blueprints, and vision paper and strategy papers. Today, I wish to share with all of you, we have come a long way, right from 25th of March 2020, when the lockdown was declared. Our chamber took a pledge. We will be doing hand-holding of the educators, because when we discussed with UNESCO, we came to know 1.65 billion children are away from schools, colleges, universities, institutions. And we thought we will do hand-holding basically for our teachers and for our youth. Keeping that profile in mind, ladies and gentlemen, every day we have been doing lots of programs across the globe because our NRI brothers and sisters, they are spread across the globe. So we have got today 1,450th program. More than 12,000 speakers have come right over here. This evening, we have got a very distinguished guest, Professor Rajni Bagga ma'am. She is the former professor and head the National Institute of Health and Family Welfare. So warm greetings, hearty welcome, pleasure to have her. Let me share a couple of slides and thereafter we get our today's speaker. There are 31.46 million Indians across the globe in almost 131 countries. This COVID-19 and now at present, when you talk about the muted virus, it has given a lot of hidden mental health related issues. We may not be showing on the surface, but a lot is going on under the surface and people have problems. So all our educators, teachers, counselors, trainers, technocrats, wherever you are, those are in education ecosystem, let's club our energy and bring our synergy together. And let's try and bring positivity in entire education ecosystem, the best possible way, whatever we can do from our side. If we have to make India self-reliant, women empowerment is very important. At the same time, women independence is also very important. Their education is also very important. A lot of children, particularly girl children and girl child, they are going to drop out post-pandemic. That's going to be a great concern. We are proud to share with all of you, 1994, when the chamber came into existence and we started with getting the Indian diaspora together on a common platform, there was a strategy. We thought, why not to have the finishing school network for the service industry? We are basically for our youth, their personality enhancement, their communication skills, their collaborative skills, their creativity, their curiosity, their innovation, their critical thinking, their design thinking, and of course, lifelong learning. Can education be happiness? Can education be musical? Can education be passion? Can we bring stimulation through storytelling and a couple of other things? So during this pandemic, the finishing school has gone totally digital. And during this pandemic, we call it now e-Gurukul for service industry. From there, we are moving to inspirational lab. You've got a physics lab, you've got commerce, you've got chemistry lab, you've got computer lab. Why there can't be inspirational lab, which should bring all around happiness to everybody? And ladies and gentlemen, creativity is as important as literacy. So via this particular e-Gurukul inspirational lab, let's bring happiness all around. Let's stay positive. And why not education should be relevant to our day-to-day life and day-to-day living. Education, skills, and some outcome of that, that means shiksha, kaushalta, or udmita. Because if I'm getting myself educated, if I'm getting skilled, I must get some kind of an outcome. Either I should be employed, or at the same time, if I'm not taking up employment, I should be self-employed. I should be startup. I should be entrepreneur. So let's get together in these challenging times. Try and think about whatever your mind can conceive and believe you me, you can achieve. Let's come together. Let's make education and skills relevant. And this morning, this afternoon, this evening, wherever you are world over, we have already completed 1,449 webinars. And this program is going live on the YouTube, on the GS Motivator. Like it, share it, subscribe it. This is your channel. Press the bell icon so that you get an intimation in advance whenever we come live. So ladies and gentlemen, with these words, join me in extending a very warm welcome this morning, this afternoon, this evening, Professor Rajni Bakka ma'am, the former professor and head, the National Institute of Health and Family Welfare. We extend a very warm welcome to Professor Rajni Bakka ma'am. Namaskar ma'am, hearty welcome, pleasure to have you. Your mic is muted ma'am.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gulshan. It's such a pleasure. I'm so happy that I'm given the opportunity to get connected with so many people around the globe.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Now, ma'am, the world is yours. Vision is yours. We want to bring the positivity in our children, our teacher, our educator, our counselor, our parents, everybody. We want, they all should be positive through your efforts.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Positivity is the key to our recognition and achievement. It is the attitude which makes all the difference. Thank you so much. A very warm welcome and namaskar from India. This is the way we in India greet everyone. And let us come on this platform with a very warm vibrations for each other, having the will to, yes, I am open to discuss and to learn something different or something new, because let us have this as more of as a sharing platform. You know, I mean, emotional intelligence is one subject. I feel that it can't be lectured, it can't be taught. It is something which we have to experience, which we have to develop, and then we see the magic in our lives. And it is something that, you see, over the years in our education system, if you see, in our growing up years, always I can remember from my childhood, the emphasis has always been on IQ, intelligent quotient, that I have to mug up, I have to learn, I have to score high marks in my schools, in my college, I have to do competition, I have to compete with my peers, I have to get admissions in the best institutions and colleges. You see, there has always been the focus on competition, on achieving for one's own self. So what I'm trying to say, friends, we have all our lives have focused on building our own self, but we are not living in isolation. We are part of a world where we are living with so many fellow beings. We are a social animal. So in order to build ourselves, we have to build our relationships. We have to focus developing our self-awareness. Now, slowly, and I'm very glad that today we are focusing a lot in our education system, not just on IQ, but on EQ. EQ is emotional intelligence. And for the last about 7 to 8, 10 years, my focus in my training programs, in my health sector for healthcare providers, and if I'm doing any leadership program, my focus is on emotional intelligence. It is the emotional intelligence which build ourselves for building people around us, for building the institution, for building our families, for building our society. It is the emotional intelligence. Like Dr. Gulshan said, attitude, attitude, attitude. And friends, emotional intelligence is all attitude. It is feeling yourself and feeling others, understanding yourself, understanding others, working for yourself and working for others. So friends, with this, let me share few of my thoughts that I had developed on what I want to share with all of you on this worthy platform. So friends, I have been given to focus on building emotional intelligence for the educators, for the school institutions, for institutions of higher learning, and most importantly, the most important asset in our society is our youth. Our youth are the change agents for our society. They have to have the visions, and this vision, and to become the change agent, it doesn't come with IQ. For this, emotional quotient, what we say, emotional intelligence is the backbone. So let me take you through some of my understanding of emotional intelligence. I want to share with all of you, and I would really like to receive your comments, to receive your queries, to receive your questions, if any, so that, you know, we can have a lot of exchange of information, exchange of ideas. So while we are talking about, you know, IQ, now we are talking about emotional quotient. We are focusing a lot on building social quotient. And my own understanding is that all educators and service providers in the education sectors, in the health sector, in the hospitality sector, they need a very high dose of emotional intelligence. And friends, you can always learn to develop these competencies irrespective of your age sets. IQ cannot be enhanced, built after the age of 4 and 5. It cannot be changed. But EQ is so incredible and so magnificent. We can be made aware of this, and we can always build it, always enhance it at whichever age or class, and whichever society we are working, whichever organizations we are serving. Today we are being judged by a new yardstick, not just by how smart you are, by your training, by your expertise, how many marks have you scored, and which job are you working. No, this is not the yardstick. This is not the mantra. The real mantra is today is how well we understand, we handle ourselves and others and our relationships. Our relationships with our family, with our children, with our subordinates, with our peers, with our seniors, and with all the people around us. Friends, there is a growing body of research findings which have scientifically demonstrated that emotional intelligence predicts how well you perform in your house, in your school, in your society, in your workplace. Why EQ for educators? You'll be wondering why us. I am an educator. I have been teaching for the last so many years in my educational sector. And so why should I be focusing on this? Service sector, friends, you will agree with me, it's a very demanding profession. Our curriculums are changing, the demands are changing, the expectations are changing, the technology is changing, and all the demands and the needs and requirements are coming from our stakeholders. You are facing these challenges, which are both positive, which are negative. Friends, you know, during the COVID pandemic, we have all faced such amount of mental, emotional outbursts, changes. I have seen burnout, and because I have worked for more than 33 years in the health sector, and I have seen this burnout amongst our doctors, amongst our nursing professionals. And you know what has sustained my healthcare providers in my country, in India? It has been their immense amount of positive attitude and emotional intelligence to serve the humanity, to serve the people. And that is how they were able to sustain and survive. And because they had a will to serve the people. And this comes from certain amounts of emotional intelligence. But of course, I'm not saying that they have not had their times of breakdown. Of course, they have had. We have had our challenges. We have had a shortage of human resources in our health sector. So we have had these challenges, and for that we do need the realization. And realization comes when we have a high emotional intelligence. So the emotional intelligence high, if it is high, it can not only manage your own stress, but can also manage the difficult situations around you, like I have said about COVID, working outside, working from home. Children are sitting at home. Children have no sources of outlet. They are just, confined within the four walls, and all the time going through their educational performance, sitting in front of the screens. So it has really hampered their mental and emotional health. And that is why I feel today all the more need to focus on building and enhancing emotional intelligence. Friends, when in the last decade, when I started focusing a lot on emotional intelligence, I made my own pattern. I thought nothing better than discussing and discussing the importance of emotional intelligence, then relating it with the cash model. Cash model is one of the most popular and one of the most, I feel, significant model for managing the human resources, for motivating the people, for building the people. Cash was developed way back in 1970s by ILO, International Labour Organization. But I have not been able to replace this model with any other model, being a student of psychology and management. I find it one of the best. So friends, now what does this KASH comprises? And what is the difference amongst all these four factors? Friends, it's very easy to understand. K is for knowledge. We all study, we all go to the institutions to gain knowledge. Knowledge is information. Knowledge gives us awareness. And when this knowledge is applied, and then it turns into skill. So on one side, we have knowledge and skill. On the other side, the two columns, we have A and H. Of course, you will be understanding now that A is attitude. And friends, as you all know, that knowledge and attitude are different. Knowledge is mere information, and attitude is a set of feelings, set of emotions to make use of that knowledge. Making use of that knowledge for what? In which direction? For whom? For whose development? My own development, or for the developing of my institution, my human resource, motivating my people, being a leader. So attitude is more essential, I feel, than only focus on building knowledge. Of course, our knowledge and skill are the reasons that we are working as educators, or I'm working as an engineer, as a doctor, as a nursing professional. But is it sufficient for me to build my organizations, to build myself, to get achievements, to get motivation, to tap my potential, to manifest my potential? No, friends, it comes from attitude. And attitude comes from where? A set of beliefs, a set of value systems that we acquire since the time of our, being rearing and our childhood. Our value system, our belief systems lead to our attitude. And it is our attitudes, our feelings and emotions lead to a behavior, which get manifested into the actions. And friends, any behavior we repeat over a period of time becomes habits. So H is for habit. And habit of group of people in your school, in your educational institution, becomes the culture of the organization. So from where does this culture comes, friends? This work culture, from where does it come? It doesn't come from highly intellectual and highly competent and highly skilled doctors and professors and other experts in your institutions, computer experts if you're working in the computer industry, or in your teaching institution, highly competent faculty. No, the culture doesn't come from there. Culture is it is a combined pattern of attitudes and habits. It comes from attitudes. It comes from value system of the organization. Like, friends, I feel that the water flows from top to bottom. Water never moves from bottom to up, isn't it? And similarly, the culture always flows from top to bottom. So friends, this knowledge and skill is the technical part of your institution organization. And the attitudes and culture of the organization is the behavioral part of your institution. And what I have combined over the years of my experience is that technical part of yourself is combined. It is coming from your IQ. It is your IQ which determines that how technically competent you are, how much of knowledge, problem solving you have acquired, and how much of skills. You are a competent surgeon, so and so we say have learned such fine art of surgery. They were the toppers in the schools. They were always very focused. So this is the technical side. But does it mean that that doctor, that engineer, or that teacher is a huge motivator to build other people. That doctor, that teacher is a change agent for building the institutions and building the human resource. No, friends, I'm sorry, it does not. IQ gets limited to your own success, to your own achievement. So the behavioral side comes from your emotional intelligence. Our emotional intelligence determines my attitudes. You know, attitudes are positive, negative, favorable, non-favorable. Our attitudes determines whether my behavior is passive, aggressive, or assertive. My attitude determines my feelings towards other people in terms of apathy, sympathy, and empathy. And all these, friends, are part of emotional intelligence. So I'm very sure that and the use of this cash model has been able to develop a better clarity and understanding of the difference between IQ and EQ, and why EQ. Why do we need EQ? And so intelligent quotient is all about understanding myself, my goals, my competitions, my needs, my acquirements. And emotional quotient is all about self, but with more focus on understanding and developing and growing and building other people, whether it is my family, whether it is my society, or it is my institutions, my organization, my school, my class. Friends, if you remember, I know that our grandmothers today, I feel I owe a lot to my grandmothers in my family. They were the builders of the families. They were the change agents. It was nothing to do with their IQ. Some of them had never gone to school. But friends, they had such immense emotional intelligence that not only they grew the large families, developed them, but they were the change agents in their society, in their whole area. So it was only because of their emotional quotient. And I owe a lot to my grandmothers and to my great aunts. Since that time, I started understanding management sciences a lot more. They never went to management schools, but I think they were the best managers. They were the real leaders in our community, in our societies. And today, somewhere down the line, I feel we got so much materialistic. The focus developed so much on IQ and competition and me, myself, my gains, my selfish need. There's somewhere the focus on understanding other people and relating with other people, was lost. But thanks to COVID, we have started valuing the human relationships, the families, the value of having emotional support from your own people. So this has really added to much more, I think, importance of emotional intelligence. So today we need to change. We need to change in our attitudes, in our mission, in our perspectives, and in our priorities. Friends, I have seen in my health sector, I have seen in the education sector in India, and in whenever I have traveled abroad, I have seen there is no dearth of knowledge, skill, and expertise in people. But you know what? I have always tried to feel the need is for bringing about a change at people's behavioral level. That is what I feel that we really need to focus a lot more. So, friends, I would let me just at a glance tell you the difference between the three, amongst the three. Intelligent quotient helps us to build our knowledge, our skills, solve maths, memorize, and recall subject matters. That's it. And emotional quotient, oh my goodness. This is so vast. It is so profound. It is so rich. It helps one to maintain peace with ourselves and others. Be responsible for one's feelings and attitudes and for my behavior. Be honest, respect my boundaries, and manage my time. Be humble, be genuine, and be considerate towards other people. And you might have seen some people are very social. They build so many friends and networks. Such people have a very high social quotient. They build networks of friends and maintain it over a long period of time. And emotionally intelligent service providers, our feelings, and they understand others' feelings. They motivate. Motivation is willingness to work. And my simplest definition of motivation is we don't change ourselves unless until it makes a difference to us. And friends, COVID has made us to understand that today we really need to change in the way we view our relationships with people around us for managing our emotions. So this is the whole value and mantra of emotional intelligence. I have also seen that people who have very high emotional intelligence and social intelligence tend to go further in life than those with high IQ. I will tell you more about it. Most institutions capitalize on improving IQ level, while EQ and SQ are played down. But the real success of the institutions in USA, they have carried out a study on Fortune 500 companies, and it was found that the growth, the development, or building of the organizations of these companies was determined by the high EQ of their leaders, of their management. A man of high IQ can end up being employed by individuals with high EQ and SQ. This has also been found in research. So friends, the research has shown that IQ can help you to be successful to the extent of 20% only in life, but the rest of 80% success depends on your emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence brings you recognition, popularity, growth, manifesting your potential, not just yours, but the people who are around you. You realize the potential, the rich asset of human resources around you, whether these are your students, whether these are your patients whom you have to motivate for lifestyle changes, or whether these are your human resources which are responsible for the growth of your industry. So emotional intelligence, competency. Do you understand what motivates other people? Do you sense other people's feelings? When somebody comes to you, your student comes to you and say that, ma'am, I'm very sorry, I have not been able to complete this project within the stipulated time due to some problems in my family. And at once the answer from a typical teacher is that finish it by tomorrow. Now, that is the spontaneous answer, but there are feelings and dilemma behind the words that the student had spoken. There were the feelings of helplessness, of some problems in their family, but many times we don't hear. But with high emotional intelligence, we are able to listen and hear those feelings and to motivate our student and to build the support system for the students. Do you understand the unspoken norms? Do you mentor your people? Do you mentor your colleagues, your subordinates in the hospitals? Do you mentor your students? Do you mentor your junior faculty? So this mentoring, friends, is one of the very important function of a leader, of a trainer, of a teacher. We are all mentors for our children at home, but can we extend the same role and function to the institutions where we are working? Do you provide feedback and develop other people? Do you ask for inputs and feedback from others? Do you support your team members and encourage cooperation? Friends, these are the questions I think we have to ask ourselves, that do these questions give me a trigger that yes, I need to think about building the emotional intelligence in myself and in people around me. And now, friends, you will be wondering that what are the ways how to now really build, what are the different competencies for building this emotional intelligence? Friends, this emotional intelligence whole concept came by Daniel Goldberg many, many years back. And Daniel Goldberg said very beautifully that there are two sets of competencies: personal competency and social competency. Personal competency is concerned with determine how we manage ourselves, and social competencies focus on building our relationships. So friends, when I will now one by one go take you through each of these competencies. These personal competencies comprise of 3 levels of awareness and growth at my own personal level, in order to enable me to help and feel for other people. And what are these? Number 1 is self-awareness. I will explain each one. Number 2 is self-management. Self-regulation means self-management, managing myself. And number 3 is motivating myself. Motivating myself for building other people, not motivating myself to compete for my own growth. And the social competency, friends, I will discuss in terms of building empathy. One of the most profound word that I have been using and I have learned to apply is empathy. And the second one is social skills, relationship building. And this is our emotional intelligence model. So personal competencies determine how we manage ourselves. And now, friends, I will start with, what do we mean by self-awareness? It is simply knowing who we are. How do I think? How do I behave? Why do I feel in this way? Sometimes, friends, it happens that you are going through some problems in your family, and there are some people sick, and there is so much of challenge from your children, and you come to your school, your institution, your organization feeling very stressed, very stressed. And many times you tend to overlook the work burden. You tend to overlook that sometimes the work is not being carried out as you had desired. So unknowingly, we just displace our frustration, our stress onto people around us without realizing, because I don't have self-awareness. I can't feel that I am making other people, I am hurting other people. Sometimes we shout at people, we are angry at people, we accuse people. And somebody comes and tells us, we say, oh my goodness, I didn't realize It happens to each one of us. It happens because our level of self-awareness, many times under stress, under stressful situations. I have seen during COVID, when I was providing this online counseling, I was doing for many people, and people were talking to me, and I found that under heavy burden of this, challenge of fear of COVID and unknown, environment had led people to go through a lot of emotional stress, and they were not aware that why they are behaving as they were behaving. So my focus during this whole conversation with them was to only focus on opening up their hidden emotions. That's all that I did. That's all I worked upon. All that which was bottled up, I just brought it at the level of awareness. And this we can all do. It is something which just requires a bit of more openness. We need to do it. When we feel emotional reactions to situations, we don't realize what is behind that reaction. We just have an outburst. We don't realize. It is important to stop. Wait. Ask yourself, why am I feeling tense? Why I am so angry? Why am I shouting at people? And to then we should identify the feelings behind it. Friends, we might have read many, books online that when you are angry, count from 1 to 10. Isn't it? What does it mean? It is a very rich, I think, principle about it. It means that you halt, you wait, you check, you audit yourself. So it is very important to keep on auditing yourself, and that only comes when we open the doors for self-awareness. Friends, a parachute does not work if it is not open. Similarly, a mind does not work if it is not open. So first thing in emotional intelligence is to open our mind. And in self-awareness, friends, I will talk about 3 levels of awareness and assessment. Number 1, emotional awareness. Recognize your emotions, your feeling of anger, your fear, your guilt, your grief on yourself and its impact, its effect on your children, on your family, on your students, on people around you. Then assess your strengths and limitations. Oh, I cannot work at night. I'm working from home, but I have my limitations. I can work for 7 hours, for 8 hours. I cannot go beyond it. So assess your strengths. You have certain, your own family limitations. So try to assess it, appreciate that, and work towards them instead of just ignoring our limitations. Many times I have seen that people have so much of power and strength. We all have unlimited potential within us, but we don't realize it. We are not confident about enlarging our own capacity for growth. So I think it is very important for us to realize it. And the third level of self-awareness is having your confidence in yourself. Appreciate your self-worth. Yes, I am okay, you are okay. This is my favorite subject in transactional analysis, that emotional intelligence is all about, what we say, Eric Berne says, I'm okay, you are okay. I am positive for myself and I'm positive about others. Have that confidence. I can do it. Yes, I will do it. I will try my best. And I tell you, friends, this is just unlocking. The key is in our hand. The moment I say, I will try, I do it, and it happens. The magic is within us. We just have to open and the magic happens. And now, friends, I take you to the second assessment under personal competency. The second one is management of self. This is the ability to control or redirect the all that disruptive, conflicting impulses and moods. When we are angry, when we are bottled up, when we are stressed. You know, friends, I stay in the capital of India, New Delhi. And, you know, our capital of New Delhi does have a lot of traffic in the morning. People are rushing to work. Everybody's in a hurry. At the red light, everybody's honking because the traffic is so much and everybody want to pass at a great speed. And I have seen a lot of road rage on Delhi roads when I drive to my office, which is about 25 kilometers. And I see people abusing the others. They are shouting at each other. And if their car or a bike touches the other vehicle, they come out and they start having physical assault on each other. This is, friends, road rage is nothing but displacement of anger, frustration, and stress. This we take out onto the third agents who had not given us stress. We take it out on the third agencies. And without realizing, because I have no awareness, my emotional intelligence during stressful times goes low. And that is the importance of building and sustaining emotional intelligence, that even in stressful times, I can identify, I can keep a check on this. And second level is trustworthiness, maintaining your sense of honesty and integrity, even in stressful times, even in difficult times. And friends, during my long years of service, I realized the real test of honesty is when you have moments to be dishonest, but you retain your honesty. If somebody tells me I have never been dishonest, and I will ask them, did you have moments to be dishonest? So friends, that is auditing yourself, being conscientious, taking responsibility for your personal performance, adapting yourself to change. Friends, COVID made us stay inside the houses. We were in lockdown. We stayed inside the houses. We had to adapt ourselves to change under difficult circumstances, but we had to. And I saw during this time that people who had some passion, some hobby, and they had financial support, and they had family support, they had emotional support, they had friends who were available online, and they could adapt to change. But many people crumbled during this difficult times. And being innovation, trying new approaches, and in COVID gave us the time to build our virtual capacities. We had to learn a lot to become a virtual trainer. So school children, everybody had to adapt to learn to innovate. Now, friends, we have done self-awareness, self-management, and now I will talk to you about self-motivation. So motivation is willingness, enabling ourselves to work, a passion to work for reasons beyond money or status. So friends, my motivation gives me a kick for achievement drive, to improve my standards of excellence, to grow, to learn, and get this. Once I have the achievement, I have the recognition. Become commitment to your educational institution, to your hospital, to your any industry you are working. You are committed to the goals and objectives to that organization. And you are committed to self-learning for your own growth. You are ready to take challenges. You are ready for opportunities. Friends, I have also seen that any setback for a negative thinker is a totally crumbling spot. The same setback for a positive thinker is a stepping stone. So whenever we have the setbacks, we have the opportunities to take more initiatives. Be optimist, persistence in growing, and we have two approaches in such situations: be reactive or proactive. Our motivation makes us proactive. Proactive means we just bounce back, we tide over the crisis, and we find ways to achieve our goals. But a reactive person will always complain, oh my goodness, we are sitting at home, working long hours from home. But a proactive person can find ways that how this working from home can also become a way of multiplying so many other functions. So I think it is all our attitude. All this personal competency I have told you just now, all are determined by my and your attitude. It is the attitude which determines your altitude. So friends, now I come to the second competency. First, we were talking about personal competency, and this is the social competency. The competencies which determine how we handle relationships, how we work with people, how we grow with people, how do we network, how do we mentor, how do we lead. And here I have to talk to you about two most important, very profound, worth the efforts. One is empathy, then social skills. Empathy is our ability to understand the emotional makeup of other people. Empathy is my ability to enter into the feelings field of the other person. It is the skill in treating people according to their emotional reactions. And friends, there's a lot of difference between sympathy and empathy. There are three attitudes in serving people: apathy, sympathy, and empathy. Apathy means no reaction. I don't care. I don't care. People are falling sick in COVID. I don't care. It is happening everywhere. Friends, my choice of my concern of choosing my doctor, my physician, or any shop or anyone, all depends upon the attitude and empathy of people. You may go to a doctor, you may go to a beautiful big hospital, which is a 7-star hospital, but the healthcare professionals have their attitude of empathy. They don't care that how much in pain you are. They will take their time to prepare their file work first. They are not concerned, but there are institutions with less amount of, all that pomp and show, but their concern for the feelings and pain and misery of people is immense. When the poor people come, they have made approaches with the NGOs who provide and fund for the medicines of the poor people. This is empathy. Empathy is our emotions, which is translated into actions. And empathy determines how I sense other people's feelings and perspectives, how I develop the needs of other people. Like I have seen in the school industry also, when there are smaller people with special needs, they have learning disabilities. So how do we make special arrangements for them without adding the burden of financial burden or other burden on the parents? Special transport, special, learning aids for these children. So this is all coming out of the empathy of the educational system. Like similarly in the hospitals, I have worked with All India Institute of Medical Sciences, and I have seen that how they have these very good NGOs, organizations, who are providing round the clock food and shelter and care to the poor patients and their families. From where does it come? It comes from the leader's empathy. So I have seen a certain amount of empathy in our various institutions in India. And so is must be in your countries also. And I think that is the reason which will attract you to that institution, and that is the what which adds to the popularity of recognition of that institution. Then empathy also determines the service orientation. Now today, our health sector, we are much more prepared and anticipating that the demand for oxygen cylinder and oxygen, plants, and for the number of beds and for the safety needs. We have anticipated and we have prepared for any eventuality, for any new, virus which may come up, because we all know now we have to live with this COVID. It is not going to go away. Different viruses will be coming and going. So how your government, how your industry, how your service sector anticipates the needs, the demands, recognizes and prepares for the customers and the stakeholders well in advance. That is empathy number one. How do the policy makers take the decision? How do the policy makers are proactive? And another one which is determined by empathy is leveraging diversity, cultivating various opportunities through different types of people. Friends, the organization which is having different set of people with their different talent is the one which can really grow very well. It recognizes people, or some people, are 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 very good in customer care, in public relations. So I think we should identify and give them that amount of work. Some people are very good in their administrative and computer skills. So we should focus on skilling them, building their skills. We should do their job enrichment in that particular area in which they have their aptitudes. So I think it is very important for a leader, for you to understand the diversity of the people. And today, friends, the times have come that recently I had gone to a mall, to a multinational shop, and I had a boy at the sales counter who was deaf and dumb. And there was a board that please converse with me in writing. And I was so impressed that this multinational shop is integrating our fellow beings who has special needs. So this is leveraging diversity of different people in our society. And I feel that that company is very high in emotional intelligence. Then friends, in India, we have a hotel, a restaurants, a group of restaurants who have burn injuries, acid attack girls, survivors as on their staff. Isn't it very interesting? I feel that restaurant owners have very high emotional intelligence and very high level of empathy. So empathy is all which is translated into action. And so I think our service industry can do such a lot about it. And political awareness means trying to understand who are the powers, who are taking decisions, and how to approach them, how to do networking with these powerful powers who are the decision makers in my sector, in my industry. All right, friends. So this was about empathy, and I'm sure you have really, really understood this whole concept of empathy. And lastly, our competence is about social skills. And social skill is all about building relationships, communications, interpersonal communications, networks. This is the proficiency in managing relationships and building networks, and ability to find a common ground and build rapport. This in terms of influence. Using effective tactics for persuasion. Some people have very good persuasive skills. They can always explain their agenda in a selfless manner. I was called a very persuasive person in my organization because I always wanted to work for my people, develop new programs, and I would carry on with my agenda till my authorities agreed with me. So if we have a very selfless, true agenda, I think we have to be very persuasive. And then communicating, and 99% communication is listening openly. And feelings for people, it's all about listening. When I am involved with my counseling work, I have learned that 99% of counseling is listening. Listening is the bedrock of counseling for change, for problem solving of people. Not listening for words and information, but listening for feelings. And then giving out the convincing messages. And last but not the least is managing conflicts, disagreements, and negotiation skills. Negotiation, I have seen the people in my sector who were the best negotiators for agreements, for managing the conflict, were some who listened to other people and put across their ideas and then come to a compromise. Negotiation means I win, I lose some, I win some. You win some, you lose some. So we negotiate. We have seen cross-cultural, cross-country, international negotiations. How does it happen? It happens when we cooperate and listen to the other person's challenges and constraints, at the same time putting across our needs and our worth. So friends, this has been our understanding of social skills, and I will repeat here that social skills help us to build our leadership and mental skills. We are the change agents, we collaborate, and we are the team builders. All leadership, all team building comes from building social skills under emotional intelligence. So friends, these are the 4 quadrants of emotional competency framework. We start with self-awareness, and to self-management, self-motivation, and then social awareness and relationship management, and which leads to having a positive impact on other people, not for myself, but for other people. So I just have a couple of more slides to show that the difference between organizations who have low emotional intelligence. I have felt, I can sense an organizational with low emotional intelligence and an organization with a high emotional intelligence. I just need to spend half an hour, 1 hour in that organization. How a person is received. Where is the water arrangement? Where is the sitting arrangement? How openly people talk? I have seen organizations that I have dealt with and I have traveled who maintain fear. Anger is very high. At a small trigger, people shout at each other. They always, there is a blame game going on. And if there is a sense of harassment, if a woman is harassed or any person is harassed, we just push it under the carpet. And these are the organizations which do not welcome conflict. But I tell you, conflicts are very healthy because conflicts lead to growth and development. They are reactive, they are not proactive. They use I win and you lose strategies. They ignore the stresses. One should never ignore stresses. One should always acknowledge stresses, because 80 to 90% of stress does not come from the event. It comes from our reactions to the event. So we should try to identify and understand our reactions to situations. And friends, I have seen organizations, I have worked with armed forces, I have worked with armed forces medical colleges, and I've seen, my goodness, such high sense of optimism. They celebrate success, they contribute, they complement each other, they embrace diversity of people, diversity of talent. They work for harassment and nagging. They plan well. They rethink failures. Whenever there is a failure, they come back to the table. They discuss the failure. They thrash it out. And so that in future, they are better in their performance. They use win-win strategies. They do negotiation and they cope with stress. We can't push away stress, friends. Stress is part of our life. Stress and conflicts can lead to eustress. It can be a positive motivator. It can add to the sparks in our life. So, can emotional intelligence be developed? Finally, yes, you can develop emotional intelligence at any age. It is not fixed at birth. Our IQ gets fixed at birth. When I was working in PGI Hospital, Chandigarh, in psychiatry, and we used to measure the IQ of the children, and we used to come out with the psychometric battery test and we used to say that the child has an average intelligence, above average, below average, borderline, but no, IQ is not. We are not born with EQ. EQ can be enhanced, can be grown at any age. I have seen some very old people, some middle-aged people having high IQ but low EQ. And they are not popular doctors and teachers. If you ask me, you are all educators, that who was my best teacher, I would say the one who motivated me, who had high emotional intelligence. We remember these people. We never, you will never remember the topper. You will always remember that student, that friend of yours who helped you to share the tiffin, the food with you, not because they were the high scorers. So EQ can be developed at any stage, at any age. In fact, age and maturity are positively correlated. But same is not true about IQ. So friends, I like to finish my presentation with the saying of our father of our India, our father of nation, Mahatma Gandhi ji, who said, if you want to see the change, be the change you want to see. And this change only comes by enhancing our emotional intelligence. Thank you. And I would like to have any concerns, any questions which have come up. Dr. Gulshan, please let me know about it. Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. Such a wonderful evening, such a scintillating subject you had taken so well, and you have covered so many areas. The canvas was so big, and there were questions, but the last slide which you have given, that has solved all the puzzles. There was a girl from Nancy Sangma from Meghalaya, from Tura, and that is Garo Hills. She was asking the question, and you have answered in the last slide. Yes, EQ can be developed at any age, at any stage, whereas the IQ, you gave initial part and everything. So that part takes care of very well. And I was, just smiling when you were telling cash model, because post-pandemic people are having a shortage of cash. People have lost their jobs, and particularly in service industry, I feel pained because people, those are in tourism, and those are travel agents, tour operator, tourist transporter. Tourism business is not happening. More than 5 crore people are being impacted in tourism so badly and so deeply. But when you gave a new definition of cash, and that is KASH, I won't call it a cash or aisa hota, but it is a cash when you talk about knowledge, attitude, habits, and skills. That is something wonderful which you have given over there, and how it is to be applied. And then today, the IQ 20%, EQ 80%. And finally, we got to be self-motivated. We got to be proactive. We got to take lead. And how do we handle the relations? That is something very, very important. And empathy, which is deeply, badly, and it is needed all around. Yes, it's so, so important. Leveraging diversity. Something very amazing. Like a good student of yours, I've taken all the notes, and this was something mind-blowing which you have touched. And finally, ma'am, I just wish to close this session today, world over, telling you that 888, 888, that means 888 people logged in for this particular program. I just wanted to share with you. And Nancy Sangma is telling, thank you very much for clearing my thoughts in your last slide. She has put it right over here. And very active participation. And a lot of people have sent a lot of greetings, gratitudes, and wishes and everything. And a lot of doubts have been cleared. And I think everybody is gaga and everybody is extremely happy. And particularly when you are talking about armed forces, when you are talking about services sector, all the time I was feeling that everything is passing through in such a way, because coming from a uniform, coming from a service industry, it touched me so deeply. And your upbringing, I think the credit goes to your mom, because you told grandma, but the route goes via mama. So mama and the grandmama, and they played very important role for you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for coming today. Thank you for sharing your thought process. And credit also goes to Avantika, because she was the one who connected me to you. And she was there throughout in the program today. And she has posted a lot of views, and she has thanked you.
If I can have this copy of these comments and the video recording, I will be very happy to see that.
Thank you, ma'am. It's very, very kind of you. This program was live on the YouTube. Globally, it is on the GS Motivator. I can't modify, I can't alter, I can't delete, I can't
just
add.
Send me, just send me the recording as it is. I would love to. It has been such a pleasure, such an experience,
and you brought so much of memory lane, and so much you touched this evening. And God bless you. Stay blessed always, because you're blessing so many people. You are taking care of so many souls. And we pray to Almighty for your good days as well, ma'am. And thank you very much for the wonderful journey today, developing emotional intelligence. So world over, all our brothers and sisters across the globe, wherever you are, people, those who have joined us from Canada, United States, and those who have come in Latin America, you've got a long way to go, because it's an early morning. Have your coffee, have your breakfast, enjoy your day. People, those are there in European Union, I know you are waiting for your evening tea, because after lunch you joined us. And people, those are in beautiful Bharat and surrounding in South Asia, we are grateful to all of you. Thank you very much. And it's early evening, Central Asia, Middle East, all the places. So thank you very much. Ma'am,
Thank
we
you.
are indebted to you and we
Thank
are
you.
grateful
Thank
to
you.
you.
Thank you, Dr. Gulshan. I'm so happy. Thanks a lot. I couldn't say no to you
Thank
when
you.
you called me. It was a pleasure. Thanks
It
a
was
lot.
such a short notice
Thank
and you accepted.
you.